Now, Prince Harry, wow, what a row this is. He's been accused of harassment and bullying by the chairman of the charity Centre Bali, which he set up in honour of his mother's memory. The charity chairman, Dr Sophie Chanduka, is claiming the Duke tried to sabotage the organisation before he quit earlier this week without referring to her. In response, we've heard from a source close to Harry and other trustees, but not Harry himself, who left Centre Bali, saying they fully expected they thought this was a publicity stunt from Dr Chanduka. They remain firm in their resignation, look forward to the adjudication of the truth. Well, let's try and make sense of this with the royal broadcaster, Harry and Meghan. Ray, this is astonishing. Not only is Prince Harry been accused of bullying and harassment, this woman, who's an articulate Nigerian lawyer, says there has been, the 540 people who work for the charity, there's been misogyny, a misogynoir, a word I'd not come across before, by people running the charity. Now,
yeah, these are some startling accusations made, including today, reiterated and expanded upon to a degree. And whether they're true or not, I'm sure many people, including some of our viewers, will be having a moment of schadenfreude that the Sussexes are getting a taste of their own medicine,
Quite.
having finding themselves in just the position that they put the royal family in with their baseless accusations, including suggestions of bullying and racism. And as you say, Dr Chanduka is a very impressive figure, right? This is not a thin-skinned snowflake. This is a woman who is an international corporate lawyer, has served in senior roles in international banks like Morgan Stanley, a biotech entrepreneur, and someone who has served in senior roles at Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram. And this is a woman who knows the law. And if she's so confident that she could actually launch a lawsuit here, she must think that she has firm grounds to stand on. Right, so what are her allegations? She alleges bullying, as you say.
Yeah.
She says there's been a concerted effort for months by Prince Harry and others to remove her from office, and that she has documentation to prove this from others who were attending these meetings and were shocked at her treatment. She also says that there was a campaign by Prince Harry and his team to undermine Centre Bali fundraising initiatives of hers in order to remove her, because if she can't raise the money, she'd have to go. And there's allegations that sponsors were being turned against her there as well. And then also saying essentially that at meetings, Prince Harry would essentially try to just take control of these meetings and propose his own ideas, which hadn't been approved and on the minutes. You know, appointing someone to the board without the approval of the entire board, just himself and his proxy and another person seconding it. Trying to bring a Netflix film crew to a polo match for Centre Bali, which was a major fundraising initiative, and that led to the polo ground removing itself and denying them to have the right to have the game there because they agreed to it as a charity, not as a commercial venture.
Harry and Meghan once accused the royal institution of cruelty, silencing, and even racism. They painted a picture of a system that chews people up and spits them out. But now, that same narrative is turning back on them, hard. Multiple former staffers are stepping forward again with fresh claims that Harry and Meghan created what some describe as a toxic environment. And the word being used, bullying. One royal insider told the press, they're finally getting a taste of their own medicine. Let's be clear, these are serious allegations, and the timing is very interesting. According to reports, a former Kensington Palace aide says Meghan's treatment of staff was so intense that multiple people were left in tears, suffered mental health struggles, and felt they were constantly under attack. This isn't the first time these accusations have come up, but now, insiders claim there's a renewed effort to tell their side of the story, especially after how Meghan and Harry publicly criticized the royal family in interviews, documentaries, and books.
yeah.
All of these sorts of things are happening. I think it's extremely damaging for Prince Harry, who, of course, we have to acknowledge, for him, Centre Bali has been one of the only anchor points in his adult life. You know, for all the tumult and turmoil he's been through, that's been something that's given him at least some grounding and something on which to peg his credentials as a humanitarian.
Explain the word
Misogynoir. So yes, amongst the accusations are that Prince Harry is guilty of bullying, harassment, misogyny, and misogynoir. Now this is a new term.
Didn't know that word.
Which apparently means misogyny against black women.
Yeah.
And the irony here, of course, is that this is precisely the sort of term you would have imagined Meghan to have come up with, and it's being used against her husband.
Just before I bring the panel in, people will say, well, what about their side of the story? Meghan told Oprah Winfrey that somebody in the royal family, unnamed, was racist and asked questions about what colour the skin would be of her unborn child. Not that I ever thought that was a particularly offensive question to ask in the first place, but that's not the point. And, of course, this story never even appeared in Harry's muckraking book, Spare. So they, as you point out, they're getting a taste of their own medicine. But this woman has what she says pages of evidence of bullying, harassment and racism.
Yes, she has documentation from external sources and other advisors who were at these meetings who said, essentially passed a note saying, shall we interrupt this? We can't believe what's happening to you. Yeah. So if it's true, I mean, we're going to have to see. Now, this has been referred to the Charity Commission, who are going to have to do a full investigation into the foundations of St Arbelé. So there is more to come on this story.
Right.
In response, critics say, you wanted transparency, Meghan. You wanted accountability. So now it's your turn. It's a full-circle moment that's hard to ignore. Let's rewind for context. In 2021, Meghan and Harry's now infamous interview with Oprah sent shockwaves around the world. Meghan spoke about being ignored, unprotected, and driven to a mental health crisis. She positioned herself as the victim of a cold, uncaring system. But just days before that interview aired, news broke that Meghan had been accused of bullying palace staff while living at Kensington Palace. At the time, her team dismissed it as a smear campaign, conveniently timed to discredit her. And maybe it was. But now, with more people speaking out and others backing their claims, it's harder to brush aside. One aide said working for Meghan felt like emotional cruelty.
Yeah. Harry, how damaging is this for Harry, especially in America?
Oh, it's massively damaging, and as Rafe's already said, one of the building blocks of his life, one of the ones that was left, has now crumbled. But Rafe, let me ask you, how important do you think the incident in which Meghan told this lady in charge, Dr. Shanduka, get out of the way when the picture was taken? How relevant do you think that is to what's happened since?
Well, you might well think that. I mean, obviously, all of this is speculation. We don't really know. But
it happened. We've all seen it happen. And I thought it was horrible when I saw it then.
Out the way.
Yeah.
And she is the chairman of the charity.
Meghan wasn't even supposed to be at that event. That's why it was so badly choreographed. No one knew she was going to be there. And then, of course, she put herself in between the patron and essentially the CEO, the chairman of the trustees here in this photo shoot. And then, of course, the PR team of Harry and Meghan wanted Dr. Chandalka to issue a statement to say, no, everything is fine and hunky-dory.
I wasn't insulted.
And she said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to become part of your PR machine, because this is a high-flying woman who's not going to play these silly, petty games.
Matthew, this whole, just to remind people, St Arbelé, it's helping families who have been blighted by the scourge of AIDS, which is a big problem in Africa. Princess Diana in the 80s and 90s was a hugely symbolic, important figure in helping people be less ignorant about AIDS and HIV. That's why this is so shattering for the reputation of Harry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was founded in memory of his mother, and what would his mother be saying now? I mean, this is...
St Arbelé is Lesotho for forget-me-not, which was Diana's favourite flower.
Absolutely, and obviously for our remembrance. So, I mean, look, this is absolutely disastrous for Harry, and it just proves that the real dilemma is that, you know, it was always going to happen. There was always going to be a disaster, because when a PR machine and a charity collide...
And manipulation. Others said they were humiliated and broken. Some even quit entirely. Now here's where it gets messy. Supporters of Harry and Meghan argue this is nothing more than retaliation. That the establishment can't stand the fact they broke free and told the truth. But others, even some who once defended them, are beginning to wonder if the couple's carefully curated image is starting to crack. Because let's face it, Harry and Meghan have built their brand on victimhood, truth-telling, and taking on powerful systems. But if they've used that platform while allegedly mistreating those who worked under them, that's not brave. That's hypocritical. So, are Harry and Meghan being unfairly targeted again? Or are they finally being held to the same standard they've demanded of everyone else? Either way, this isn't going away. With palace staff now feeling emboldened to speak up, and the public growing more skeptical by the day.
There's going to be friction. And quite rightly, the charity is going to win in the sense that that's doing something that's of value to people in the world, and the PR machine is doing something that's of value only to the person behind it.
Last 30 seconds, that's what we've got, Rafe. Can Harry recover from this? Can he get back to the charity, or is that done, Paul?
Well, I mean, the thing is, there's been a huge culture clash here. He's resigned, but we have to say also Prince Cecil of Lesotho has resigned, the entire Board of Trustees has resigned, but the Board of Trustees are very much part of Prince Harry's set.
Rafe, was it...
The actual Centabile, the organisation of 500 people, they're going in new, different directions, and I think this is a culture clash between an old guard and a new guard.
OK, we're done, chaps. Sorry, we'd like to have more time. Now, if you...
The once sympathetic narrative around the Sussexes is shifting. And for a couple who once said, "When you know better, you do better," this could be the reckoning they didn't see coming. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a smear campaign? Or is the truth finally catching up with Harry and Meghan? Like the video if you believe in holding everyone accountable, royal or not. Subscribe for more raw takes on royalty, power, and media narratives. And hit that bell, because this story is far from over. Thanks for watching.